Alright, hey, it's Perfect Nerd here today, and like I said in my last video, you know what? Stop right there. Don't do anything. Go and watch that episode that came before. That's gonna be all the ranked Stone Evolution Pokemons that Mr. One-Up did. He did a little ranking on it, and since I got a lot of views on that episode and people were commenting that they wanted to see more, they commented me probably like a month and a half ago. I feel really bad about not getting around to it, but I was super busy for this this month. I was super busy, so yeah, here I am. And now I'm going to be reacting to it. So we have all 27 trade evolutions and trade evolutions. Things that I never really got around to doing because, you know, if I ever had a trade evolution, man, I'd always have to do it myself because either I didn't have a friend that had the game, or I didn't have a friend at the time, or I didn't or they weren't where I was to trade or stuff like that. There was a lot of factors that came into me not getting trade evolution Pokemon. Still, trade evolution Pokemon, amazing, and I can already guess what the #1 Pokemon is going to be. It's Gengar. It's obviously Gengar. Gengar is a legit weapon package deal. Literally everything, and downright probably the best trade evolution. He's gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. We all know it. We're all thinking it. Let's start the video. 3, 2, 1, play.
Back in my day, when you had to rig the entire Pixar lamp to your handheld to play Pokemon in any area slightly dim, there were trade evolutions. The evolutions you had to talk to IRL NPCs to actually get a hold of.
No,
I'm talking about trade
the link
evolutions
cable.
as if they're this old thing, because I'm surprised they even still exist. And they've not just changed to in-game stones like in ROM hacks, or at least some kind of NPC that sorts it out for you. Now, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But really, we haven't had any since X and Y since 2013, I'm pretty sure. It definitely seem to be phasing out with the trade evolutions. They don't need to scam you into buying 2 of the exact same game.
Not gonna lie, I feel like they should have more trade evolution Pokemon, or at least make the trade evolution Pokemon that you're really going to want. But no, yeah, actually, shit, I shouldn't have said that because they're just gonna scam more money out of me. How much money do they think I got? Apparently not that much from doing this. Let's go.
These days, they're a lot more upfront and honest about scamming you into buying the exact same game twice. I see they're even making combo packs now to hustle you more efficiently. Now it's more about making sure your Switch aligns with the planet's formation. Dunsparce is in box 29 of the PC, and you pray 5 times a day while pointing towards the ruins of Alph. So there's only 27 trade evolutions. When you've only got 27, the weight class is a bit different here compared to having nearly twice as many in
going under a random bridge to evolve that Yamask.
Many freshman here. I don't want to judge too hard on smoke and tears and all that, but you gotta rate the irony of a perfume Pokemon in a tier called PU.
What Pokemon even is that? I don't know.
In a scrap, really, I'm not surprised by looking at it.
That's a trade evolution? Ain't nobody trading you. Sorry guys, if that's your favorite Pokemon, I'm sorry. You understand.
It's looking like the kind of perfume Perugly would gas themselves in.
It's aesthetically okay.
I'm flaky on my subjective Pokemon opinions.
I really don't know why people like Rhydon more than Rhyperior. Someone in the comments actually like explained that to me. I never really understood it. And I don't think Mr. One-Up's ever explains it, but I never really understood it. And because in my theory, like I don't think Rhyperior is as aesthetically pleasing as Rhydon. But Rhyperior just looks like a bigger, stronger version of Rhydon, which is what I would expect from an evolution. Because that's what's supposed to happen when they evolve. Rhyperior is not supposed to be pretty. It's kind of like the thing. It's supposed to be a really big and strong Pokemon, and I feel like Rhyperior is stronger and better than Rhydon in a lot of ways, so I don't know why you would just use Rhydon instead of Rhyperior. Like, what does Rhydon have that Rhyperior doesn't? Besides Rhydon looking a little more, I could say like it's a little much for Rhyperior, but like it's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad. People really be shitting on him though.
But this one's a constant, still dead tier here, as it is in any conversation that's relevant in for me. One of the least likable for me, few notches higher than that gassed up Perugly. Actually, a lot of notches.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard of Rhyperior when I was younger, I thought that Pokemon was the tits. Like, I thought it was the, like, most awesome epic Pokemon of my, I don't know, elementary school career. I missed a button.
Erupting that gassed up Paraglay. I'm not gonna bury Rhyperior that hard now. Yeah. I feel like it's unjustified to go in on Rhyperior like that and let Golem roll off that easily just because I kinda like its Stone of Triumph body. You'd probably be lower than Rhyperior if we're talking purely.
No, I kinda like Golem.
Let's not gas it up too hard.
But I like Rhyperior more than
Golem. And even though it was originally made to be a final form, I assume, that's only stage 2. But I, for one, I actually like its dumb, stupid, very inefficient body. Graveler's just evolving to develop 2 less and far more stubby hands. Man's got the wingspan of a rock'em sock'em robot. No idea how this thing's sucker punching anything. He got more reach with his forehead. Speaking of middle evolutions being better than their final forms, Dusknoir's still staying low down because it's there getting outclassed by its former self, the peaked at puberty stage. Along with a bit of mystery dungeon bias, alright, you got me there. It might be lower if it didn't look the part for being a weapon. The issue is, it just can't act the part, at least in the main series. Finally,
it's got a mouth in its stomach.
Explorers of time travel to go back to when you peaked, around about level 37.
I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of, middle evolution Pokemon that are like they're not just I would call them peak in being something you would want to look at. Like, that's what I mean by aesthetically pleasing. I'd consider that.
You have some mons in their region where you question whether or not it's worth investing time into them. When you're almost at the Elite Four anyway, you really need an incentive to train up something that's likely half the level of the rest of your team that late in the game. And the Lampro line is a peak example.
Lampro.
Where you're just not gonna bother. You're not gonna do that. Huntail specifically. You're like
no, nobody wants a Huntail. Who wants Huntail when they could get the other one? I forget its name, but
do you really think
everyone wants Gorbis. Everyone wants Gorbis. No one wants that guy.
A Alolan Golem handily edges out the Cantonian one for me, even though it looks like its reach gets down.
Well, honestly, Alolan Golem, way better than original Golem, just because Alolan Golem has a cannon on its back and a beard. That's funny.
Upgraded somehow from Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
That's it.
To Kirby, it even looks basically just a spherical, less useful Magnezone. It's not that great either, but it still edges out the original one just for being that much more niche. Even a D-grade Magnezone, still a Magnezone.
There's a cannon on its back.
Uses when it has Magnet Pull and enough offensive wedge packed into those 2-inch wide biceps to spark out steel types. Once again, the gatekeeper of the C tier, Slow King. It's alright. Opinions don't change to them though. It's still on the shelf next to Wheezy, while if given the option between the two, I'd opt for that superior Buzz-like Galarian form.
But Galarian, far superior, better.
Pretty tame by myself. Many people standards.
It's always these two where if ever I was to put them on a tier list, they would be in the exact same spot. And it's not even because they're like one's on one game and one's on the other game. It's just the pure fact that these two were just kind of weird, but they go with each other for an unknown reason. Like, and you can't see one without the other. I don't know if that's just something that people say, people think. I will say I like Electivire better than Magmortar. By, what did I say, by a lot? By, not a lot, but actually, okay, not a lot, but more than a normal amount. Magmortar is not aesthetically pleasing in any way, shape, or form, and that's not saying much with these two. I'm not gonna lie.
Although, I still rate Electivire that much more for looking a bit more monetizable on a certain breakfast cereal.
Yeah,
still,
literally.
Both a bit underwhelming. Honestly,
True.
I don't think Gourgeist is really good
Gourgeist
at all, but I rate them for going in on the concept of a pumpkin and for actually acknowledging Pokemon existing as different sizes, you know,
I like the pumpkin.
Actual creatures, especially because it has actual implications on its ability to
Gourgeist got that thickness.
throw air? Because you know I'm gonna hit you with that. If these
They got
were
different
real,
sizes.
would an unsurprising chunk of the fan base want to lick between some of their toes, but they'd also come in different shapes and sizes.
Don't look at me like that.
Pokemon
Don't look
Go. They're not
like
all
that.
gonna be built to factory standard sizes. I want to see some.
You gotta call me out like that, man.
I want to see
You
chicken
gotta call
and
me
rice,
out.
white boy summer Snorlax. Where are my short King Steelix hiding? I want to see Coffer-Griggers, because those solid gold coffins looking a bit pricey. Gorgeist is a step in the right direction on that. I was always a bit on the fence with Gigalith because of, you know, Unova's whole, the role of Golem will be played by Gigalith thing its Pokedex had going on 1/3 of the time. I've grown on him a bit. From the looks of things, it used to just be a slightly weak Golem down to a T. A Golem
but I like Gigalith better than Golem.
Then the Sandstream ability gave it that
I don't know why. It looks cooler. It's all spiky.
Make it stand out more. You know, as if that flex of a shiny form didn't already do that.
Fucking look at that.
Surprisingly kind of neutral on Excelgor.
The Viviro?
Excelgor. It's a ninja bug. Like, conceptually, you're sounding like the domain to a 2005 Flash game website. And I guess just by looking at it, you might as well go ahead and just tattoo 145 speed on his jelly bean forehead. With a little disclaimer tag somewhere on his membrane robe that says, warning.
Imagine he runs like this.
Waving your hands about while saying, a bit too loud. That's liking. Read right through him with the design alone. When you go back to Slateball to get the Clamperl Evolution item, you just know every 7-year-old back in 2003 is taking the Deep Sea Tooth. Sounds like you're gonna forge that pearl into some form of underwater knife to then mug the other Clamperls for their pearls.
Right, or some type of dragon.
For that Gorbis is where the real money's at, if you had to choose one of them. Gorbis isn't that
That's where it's
amazing
at.
on
I
its
told
own,
you,
but it
like
has
I
the
said.
same shell smash abilities as Huntail and pulls off the gimmick better enough to not be anywhere near as outclassed by other water types. Since
Looks better.
Scale apparently
That's it.
fills the
That's all it
special
takes.
attack wedge laying dormant in that pearl. And really, Huntail might look a lot more of a goblin at face value, but then you take a harder look at Gorbis. So what do you see in them eyes? Because all I see are the cold, vapid eyes of a killer, a weapon. He'd feel no emotion taking your lunch money and dashing you down in Davy Jones' locker, absorbing creatures of the deep before Buzzswole even knew what a deltoid was. Slurpuff looks bang average across the board, but then it's got the whole slapping his belly till it goes bright pink with that unburdened combo going on. Deceptively deadly. The sound of this thing using his belly as a drum has me looking about thinking Arceus is about to
I don't think I'd rate this thing that high, though.
Maybe a little bit more than I probably should, but I'd say that's more from it blending in my
Its design seems really bland.
Aromatisse there working as enhancement talent. Looking so bad makes Slurpuff look that much more buff by comparison. Politoed is still one of my boys. That much hasn't changed.
Politoed.
The whole evolution line really are worthy to
I put
me.
Politoed in the same area as Poliwrath.
Dumbest Pokemon into a noble prize-winning large brain. Who'd have thought the King's Rock here would cut off Poliwell's natural evolution of developing 75 pounds of eyebrow muscle and sidetrack it into this dopey frog? I'll rate Excavalier because it strikes me as one of those
Excavalier, so much better than Excelgor.
Think they'd actually go for it until you see it for yourself.
Okay,
at least
by a little bit,
like the 2009,
by a lot,
10, Gen 4,
by
a
decent amount.
Context. But it's one of those where they started getting a bit more loose with the concepts where it actually paid off. At least in its prime Gen 5 form, because it definitely looks.
Yeah, bro, I needed an Excelgor. First time I heard an Excelgor was a Pokemon, I needed it. It looked amazing. I needed it.
Like one of those designs.
You know how hard it was for me to find someone to trade my Carablast to? Like, it was hard. I had to search the entire middle school. It was hard to find somebody.
Was never
but I got
to
there.
See the light of 3D. Just look at the colors popping on him in the sprite form, and look at the personality in the animation, loosening up its rotator cuffs to poke.
I'm sorry, the shiny was a little much.
Arguably the true king of the Johto trade evolutions, as when you crown Seadra with the king.
Kingdra's
Dragon Scale.
Pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, you get Kingdra with a unique type combination to ensure that King Dragon sends his regards. Kingdra holding up fairly well consistently. It really seems like
being a water and dragon type,
like it should have existed around Gen 4 or 5. Hey, who knows? That's arguably when it peaked once its move pool got cleaned up. So all in all, solid hand in the ring here. Pokemon's own quadruped of the upper body. Is that what you call it? The quadrupliest Pokemon since Graveler before devolving into the Stone of Triumph. Kanto's own Mr. Olympia.
Oh, wait. Machamp is a trait evolution? I didn't know that. He put it down as Mr. Olympia. That's funny. But I didn't know Machamp was a trait evolution. I thought you get to a certain level and then he just evolves. But yeah, actually it makes a lot more sense now that he's a trait evolution, because it should be hard to get a Machamp.
I hope they don't do contests like that. The genetic lottery's already an unfair game in real life, let alone here. You'd have to like make your own tier. You'd have to put Machamp up in the Mr. Olympia Uber tier. And just when you thought Vulcan season was done, Gigantomass form comes in, looking more diesel than ever. Kingdra might be the king of the Johto evolutions, but Steelix is still probably my personal favorite out of the Johto evolutions. But it's neck and neck with a lot of them. You know, for me being the DLC Gen 1er I am, especially when it's neck and neck, it's hard to ignore the crimson chin. Hopefully your man doesn't see any nice looking lady Steelix out there. Hey, can't afford that wham overbite pulling a Johnny Bravo jaw drop on us, or else we're all done for. The decibels from the anvil sound effect alone and spark everyone out.
Earthquake.
Trevenant might not be as amazing as it probably should be. For a tree that can trap you in a forest so badly,
no, but like Trevenant stats kinda lame. However, it looks badass. Looks amazing. The look on it is perfect. It just screams Nightmare Fuel. But like, I really love Trevenant. I didn't know Trevenant. I also didn't know Trevenant was a trait evolution, but looks amazing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Have to long jump glitch your way to get out of it. It's not packing the suitable wedge that it should be, because it seems to be this fence-sitting hybrid that gets a bit outclassed by other ghosts, but also a bit outclassed by other grass types.
They're definitely stronger in the anime than in the game.
But I rate this one highly for the more subjective reasons. I almost feel like there's mad fusion potential here, and not in like the I activate.
Bros are one of the coolest ghost types. Sorry, I ruined the bit. But like, dude's one of the coolest ghost types. I'm just gonna say. Or actually, grass ghost. No, not even. Definitely the coolest grass ghost, but like ghost type.
I almost feel like there's mad fusion potential here, and not in like the I activate polymerization using slacking and bidoof to activate slack.
They're cool.
I'm talking about conceptually, and this is especially fitting the horror theme Trevenant has going for it, because I think
him in the forest,
should be merged with Gorgeist. As one, statistically they're given more viability, and the Trevenant ends up as this
bros be smashing
pumpkin tree. You know Machamp, he's safe, he's sound and all, he's a pretty nice guy. You know, don't tell him I said this, but like, he's all glamour muscle. Might be able to throw 500 punches a second or whatever. I don't care. When you need someone to shift a dodgy Murphy bed that you can't disassemble out of your apartment, Champ's already gassed himself out from walking up the stairs. That's where you get a more efficient slab of beef for the job. Conkelda's got that that Kyrikos Grizzly peak performance body. You call upon the source point of concrete. Your man uses pillars as walking sticks.
Yeah,
probably needs them for
let's get that
after the max lifts it's pulling off. Those walking sticks have some wedge behind them. Getting some reps
I don't know,
in
that sounds funny.
Minimum movement of walking. There's a reason why it does everything Machamp can do. I think aside from dynamic punch, if I'm getting that right.
Dynamic punch.
The 500 punches a second Muck Amp doesn't get.
Bro, if I wanted that muscle character, I'd definitely go in for Conkelda. Sorry, Machamp. Conkelda. More unique. Scizor, downright top, if not one of the best trait evolutions. Just look at it. Look at Scizor. Awesome.
Gone up a tier or two now that the talent pool is halved from the last few videos.
But keep it away from that fire. No lighters for Scizor.
Any other tier, in all fairness. It's oddly more similar to Excavalier than I realized.
Like that Swords Dance bullet punch combo. Gotcha.
Defensive dual type, high attack, a little bit heavy on the toes, but there's nary a Pokémon alive that can outrun a greased bullet punch.
Yeah.
And in that Mega form especially, definite A tier for power. Bullet punch from
Mega.
Like being on the receiving end of steel.
Mega Tonight.
Bravo George. And not many want to risk getting their limbs clamped and grilled up in those George Formans.
The clamps.
Gyarados' bulky, Squilliam, Fancy Son, Hoenvian, Milotic, seems to be a bit of a fan favorite,
amazing.
Especially now that scientists have recently
the most beautiful Pokemon.
Pet fish 50 quid.
There was also a Pokemon I really wanted, but never have anybody to trade with for this Pokemon. And this Pokemon, if you know me, I need this Pokemon. Sadly, sometimes the things that you need the most, you shouldn't have, or you don't get. I don't know the thing, guys, but you know what? No Melodic for me. Sorry.
It's worth of lush bath bombs a day for it to reach its full potential. Turns out you could just chuck him to your friend with a prism scale taped to it. You know, Clampo would actually be worth the late game evolution.
I got the frisbee.
Something like this. Something befitting a champion. Or an 8th gym leader, depending on the color of your cartridge. There used to be a time when you have to go really out of your way to evolve Feebas into this. To the point where, I guess, even the devs said, yeah,
too hard.
We're not coding contests into every game. Just make him a trade.
Just make him a trade.
Porygon Z is hands down one of the more juiced
Porygon Z
you can get a hold of. And don't let the middle stage tell you otherwise.
Didn't know he was trade.
Porygon 2 is a decent weapon in its own right,
but extremely power special attack.
Porygon Z did peak in high school like Dusknoir. It's constantly been peaking ever since it got
Porygon.
out.
The definition of Porygon.
Like, my weapon of choice
the
is intelligence, along with my trusty enchanted dual-wielding spoon. Deadly special attack in enough speed that you wouldn't even see the spoon Big hungry owl only gains more power as its hunger grows. The only thing it needs now is a Gigantamax, comically large spoon form.
No, imagine it is comically large spoon. I knew it was ghastly. I imagined comically large spoon, or it's just like its beard is even longer, and it just has like just tiny spoons, but everywhere behind it, just like thousands of spoons behind it, and it just goes, and just all the spoons go at once and just wreck you. Epic.
Is a Gigantamax, comically large spoon form. Haunter is still the main man design-wise for me, and as heavily monetized as Gengar's stout frame is. You can see why, right? You might be able to monetize Electivire on a cereal box, but Gengar can throw himself in the entire drinks and snacks aisle, and nobody can question it.
Is legit. It's as popular as Pikachu, but on the other side of the spectrum.
Face alone suits being on most quirky products more than the upper half of Machamp suits being on a tub of gold standard whey. Alakazam came close, it has the Mega Form too, but Gengar's got a lot more wedge
and the Gengar Mega,
catalog of forms with that
insane
terrifying Gigantamax form, even just for giving me a reason to make this edit. Alakazam may have the hunger to wield 5 spoons. Take a look at him, we all know. That brother's starving. He's looking puny. You can tell none of those spoons have been digging into some of the gold standards. You'd need hundreds of Mega Alakazams to even keep this specimen's hunger satiated. Top of the food chain. King of the trade evolution jungle mine.
Just the nether realm to eternity. Just the endlessness of Gengar. Also, Gengar terrifying. Gengar's scarier than Trevenant. That's all I gotta say. Oh, but I wasn't subscribing the right way. Ooh, weird. I'm usually subscribed fully to certain people that I watch a lot. Interesting. But I got my points across in the episode. I don't have anything else to say, but if you got something to say, feel free to post a comment, and depending on what you say, I will get back to you. The only reason I said that was because, like, if you don't ask me a question or give me like a statement question or something like that, you understand what I'm talking about. And I'm not gonna answer your question. Like, not your question. I'm just not gonna answer you because I don't consider that a question. But if you want to spark up a conversation in the comments, do it. As of right now, I believe I'm the only YouTuber to react to these people, to react to Mr. 1-Ups. But with that being said, as always, I'm Anthropomorphic Nerd, and I'll see you in the next video. I have to do some work. See you guys.